Hey everyone, welcome back to WrestlePop.
All right, guys, on the most recent episode of Grillin' JR, Jim Ross's podcast, he talked about Brock Lesnar leaving WWE back in 2004 after WrestleMania 20.
This was a big shocker. Back in 2004, he headlined WrestleMania, and I thought this guy was going to be around for a very long time and all that, but he just left and he pursued football of all things. And it's kind of crazy because this guy, he was made for wrestling.
He was, and it sounds like the reason why he wanted to leave, or at least one of the main reasons, was because he really wasn't cut out for all the traveling, the international travel, the domestic travel, and he really didn't like it, to the point that he even got his own plane because of it. And maybe it wasn't even the travel, but it was the traveling with other people.
It makes sense because if you guys don't know Brock Lesnar, he's from South Dakota. There's like nobody there. We were there like many years ago and the population is like nothing. There's a lot of open land. So imagine Brock Lesnar going from that to going to like Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, and all these big cities. He's got to be overwhelmed.
But now here is another interesting thing that Jim Ross said, and I feel like this is the more interesting part of it. He talked about Brock Lesnar's payday from that WrestleMania 20, and he said that Brock was very displeased with it. And I'm like, wow, like how much did he expect to get? Because what he ended up getting was $250,000. And Jim Ross said that Brock called him up a couple days later, and he actually wanted to talk to Vince, and Vince is like, no, pawn him off on Jim Ross. So Jim Ross had to take the call, and Brock was like, hey, I feel like you guys scammed me. I want more money. And JR is like, listen, man, like, did you do like a forensic accounting, or are people just telling you that you got scammed? And he's like, you got paid fairly, and that's that. And then he said Brock just hung up on him. And he's like, I didn't take it personal. That's just how Brock is. He got the answer out of me, and that was that.
So imagine, guys, you make $250,000 for one night. You probably wrestle for like 30 minutes or something like that, 10 minutes. Since it is Goldberg, probably like 10 minutes. And here's the thing, Goldberg also made $250,000. And guys, that's a lot of money. And Brock Lesnar was not happy. And apparently Jim Ross thinks it was Curt Hennig who put it in his head that he got screwed. And Curt Hennig, did he ever make $250,000 in one night? I don't think so. But it's pretty funny because Curt Hennig had a reputation as a ribber. And Brock Lesnar, I'm sure he was like an easy mark for this kind of stuff. And I just love the fact that Brock Lesnar calls up, he says what he says, and then he doesn't really have a good defense.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of like stewing in his mind what to say. And Brock Lesnar being like, you know, the caveman that he is, he's just like defeated, hangs up the phone, and that's it. So thank goodness the NFL didn't work out for Brock, because he came back to wrestling. And guys, he's like, I feel like the only true heel main eventer left.
And on top of that, let's hope that he still thinks he got screwed, because we really need an angry Brock Lesnar. All right, guys, that's the video. If you like what we're doing here, definitely check out our other channel, 5 Minute Eats, and don't forget to give us a like and subscribe.